It was an early morning in the summer of 1989 here at the Turkish-Bulgarian border crossing at Adina. Bumin Kahraman was one of tens of thousands standing on the Bulgarian side of the border hoping to be let into Turkey. It was an exodus of Bulgaria's ethnic Turkish minority. The communist regime banned the use of the Turkish language in public and forced Muslims in the country to adopt Christian Bulgarian names. When the government lifted travel restrictions, Kahraman and his wife and children fled to the border.
We had all our belongings in handcarts. They let us cross. On the other side, we got into a car and off to Istanbul.
Now Kahraman returns to his former country every 3 months. It's just a few hours' drive from Istanbul. He says he bears no resentment. Today he has both a Turkish and a Bulgarian passport. Bulgaria has restored the civil rights of the refugees and apologized for the expulsions, but the 72-year-old was unwilling to return altogether. The town of Kartchali in southern Bulgaria is where he was raised and went to school. Today, more than half the 50,000 residents are ethnic Turkish Muslims. Many of his friends stayed behind back then because they either had no papers or money to start a new life in Turkey. Kahraman's sister Nezahat still lives in Bulgaria. 2 of his brothers are in Turkey. Despite the separation, the family bonds are still strong. Whenever the siblings meet, the conversation always comes round to the assimilation campaign that began 30 years ago.
We were terribly sad when they left. For months we didn't hear from them. I ended up informing my brother about our mother's death in a letter.
The Christmas season is a bitter reminder of how uncomplicated relations between the 2 communities once were. The family even celebrated Christmas with Orthodox Bulgarians.
We'd visit them on their holidays, and they'd come to us on the Muslim holidays. There were no problems. There was no Turks here, Bulgarians there.
Today, the divide between the religious groups has grown wider. The Bulgarian Christians celebrate in their churches among themselves. But they claim there's no bias against the Turkish minority that makes up 10% of the population.
There's no discrimination, no. Well, maybe in a few cases.
After the end of communism, around 100,000 Bulgarian Turks returned to the country. Today, Islamic religious instruction for children is permitted. Many of the older members of the community only became devout Muslims after their emigration and return. In the communist era, it was forbidden to attend the mosque. This apartment block on the outskirts of Kartchali is where Kahraman and his family lived until they fled the country. The construction worker had saved for years for the apartment. At first, his one-time Bulgarian neighbor doesn't recognize him. But then the recollections pour in. How old we've become, they say.
It was actually a pretty good time, until the communists started suppressing our religion. Imagine, we couldn't even lay out the dead for prayers.
Before he heads back to Turkey, Kahraman visits his mother's grave. She died soon after the repressions and the emigration of her children. The events of 1989 not only separated Kahraman from the people he loved, but also from his homeland, Bulgaria.